Hi everyone, welcome to the channel dedicated to sharing the profound insights and wisdom of Andromedan Contactee Alex Collier. If you're new here, you're in for a journey that expands your mind and consciousness, bringing you closer to understanding the messages from the fifth density Andromedan extraterrestrials. For those returning, we're grateful for your continued support. Before we dive into today's enlightening content, we have a small favor to ask. If you find value in the knowledge shared in this video, please consider hitting that like button, subscribing to our channel, and clicking the bell icon so you never miss an update. Your engagement helps us amplify Alex Collier's message, allowing us to reach a larger audience with these vital messages. We'd also love to hear from you, so please engage with the comments below. Whether it's a question, your thoughts, or even just an emoji for the sake of engagement, every comment counts. We read every single comment, and your feedback is incredibly valuable to us, as it all contributes to our mission of expanding this community. So please don't hesitate to leave your thoughts below. Additionally, if you'd like to support us further, consider giving a super thanks tip by clicking the heart with the $sign. This small gesture allows us to continue bringing you more of Alex's messages, unfiltered and directly from his lifelong experiences with the Andromedans. Today's video includes a compilation of several of the many important questions Alex Collier has received over the past few years, so please sit back, relax, and enjoy today's video.
Since both white and black hat have time travel ability, when a white hat goes back in time to fix something, how do we stop a black hat from going back and changing the fix? Asks Stephanie.
Okay, that question dark hats can't go back. God, I would have to re-explain everything that we've talked about for 5 years now to explain to you why that isn't possible. There are no alternate timelines. They've all been merged into this one. The portals, the regressive dark portals, have all been shut down. They're now monitored by white hat ships or alliance ships or others that are benevolent. There is no neutrality at this point. All right? Not at this point. And those that were instrumental and have been here, beings that have been here for thousands and thousands of years, manipulating and twisting humanity and supporting this attack on children, etc., 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 that are not of Earth have been removed from the equation. What's left are those of us here. Now, I am aware that there are jump rooms still, but my understanding is that those with a regressive nature or that particular frequency, if they go into a jump room, the minute they go to the other, whatever their destination is, they're grabbed. They're arrested by the Alliance and handed over to Space Force. That's what's going down here. No one walks away from this. And let me say that again. No one walks away from this. Okay? The darkness, those that have supported the enslavement and the torture and the inhumanity to humanity, it's over. It's done for them. Okay? They had an opportunity to do something about it. They had an opportunity to surrender. It didn't mean they were going to walk, but it would have been a way to protect their loved ones. If they didn't do it, there are no more deals. There are no more deals. For the hybrids, the real hybrids, they're going into alliance custody. And I'm not sure what's happening to them at that level, but they will never be coming back to this planet ever again. Ever. So there are some things I don't know exactly about on the other side of that question. But I know for here, that pendulum is swinging all the way to all light. To all light. What we as a humanity create at that point is totally going to be on us. Okay, there'll be all the manipulation, all the dark regressives, all that shit that never should have been here in the first place. That's all going to be removed. What's going to be here at that moment when even the Earth regressives, Terran regressives, are removed from the equation, what's going to be here is it's going to be all light. What we create as a humanity from that perspective and that point of view, from that intent, will be solely on us, which is why I've been sharing with you and talking about the necessity for us to fill those voids of power with ourselves, with humanity, to create systems we want. This is why it's so important to have dialogues about what it is we want. How are we going to replace a monetary system with what we want? The quantum system is only going to be temporary. We will evolve beyond needing money. What does that look like? Our educational systems to learn galactic history and true human history. What's that look like? How do we build that infrastructure and create those systems in order to educate future humanity? Healing to replace this corrupt Rockefeller corrupt system of harming humanity and making humanity sick so they could make money. What does that look like with different systems, med beds and healing beds and holographic technology? What does that look like? What are we going to be putting in place? We have got to do that. You see, a lot of people are content to sit back and say, well, the military can do that. No. That's not their job. Their job is to protect, not to control. Why would we go back to that system? No. Humanity has got to step forward and fill those gaps and those voids. This is on us, guys. This is on us. I told you all that stuff is going to be removed, all the regressives, all that, and they're going to sit up there, the alliance, and say, okay, you are now no longer being manipulated. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? This is our time to rise to the occasion. Okay? All the talk is done. All the victimhood is over with. We have to rise to the occasion. It's time to walk the talk.
how is our judicial system going to prosecute all the bad actors related to the injection fraud? How will the military step in if they have their own bad apples to deal with in leadership? Is this what you meant by common or natural law replacing admiralty or corporate law? Thank you.
Yes. I don't know how that's all going to shake out or how it's actually shaking out now, other than the fact that all the bad apples are clearly exposing themselves. And, you know, I honestly believe that there is a significant number of people within the bad apple group that made mistakes and are now being blackmailed, that made mistakes and there are threats against their families, their loved ones, which is why they're doing the bidding. And then there are others who have jumped to the other side and have been trying to protect their families and have not succeeded. This whole thing is so complicated, and it's so dangerous at the point where we are at right now. I mean, it literally is dangling on the edge of a knife. That's how close we are to the last move. This isn't going to last much longer. We know the quantum system is being put into place. We know that the US economy, the Western economies, the fiat central banking system is collapsing. And it has to, because almost everything attached to it is negative energy. Not that the intention behind the companies and the corporations and the small businesses that are using the monetary system they're not. But it was designed to take us to a place of total tyranny. They had a long-term agenda, and they were playing the long game. And the long game was meant to be implemented in 2030. And that is where, the extinguishing of 90% of humanity. Now, it's my understanding that Henry Kissinger is now coming out and saying, well, yeah, we have these concerns about these bio labs. Ladies and gentlemen, don't believe a word he says. Okay, don't believe a word he says. He's the one who coined the phrase, we were all useless eaters. All right, so don't buy any of that bullshit. All right? He's been on the wrong side since day one. He hasn't found Jesus. Don't even go there. He hasn't found God. Don't even go there. All right? You see, it's this kind of shit. They're going to put somebody in front of the narrative and try to make them like a good guy when they're not. They've been doing this all along. Barack Obama is a perfect example of that. Hillary Clinton is a even better example of that. This thing is so big. This thing is so big. It would be like, somebody on Telegram said, well, somebody asked the question and have Alex give us the entire galactic history in 5 minutes. It's not possible. It's taken me 30 years to lay it out for you. If you want to know, go look at the first 10 years of talks that I gave. Okay? And then you have, and then when you're done with that, listen to David Icke, Michael Tazarian, James Gilliland, Lisa Royale, Carla Ruckert, Jordan Maxwell. There's so many people who have contributed to this, to sharing and exposing the history of the planet. You know, the old guard, the front miners, the ones who started this movement, you know, and this goes back to the 50s. Carrie Cassidy, oh my God, you can't leave her out of anything. She's been so instrumental. All these people have a piece of the puzzle. And sometimes things overlap. Sometimes things are a little bit different, or they have a different opinion. And that's because, you know, the perspective that I've given you is the Andromedan perspective of us and the situation we're in and the history. Elena has the Pleiadian perspective. Vivian, Chevet, she comes from the Arcturian. Simon Parks comes from the Cassiopean perspective. You know, everybody sees it through a different lens. And it's okay that people have a different opinion, but what's important is to pay attention to what laps on top of each other. Okay, where the information matches, where it's in sync, in alignment. That's where you need to be. Because that's where everybody's on the same page. No two souls ever think alike. They're not meant to. They're meant to be different. That's how the Creator learns about itself, is through us and our experiences. And we take that knowledge, we take that information, we take that evolution back to source. Which is why it's isness. Okay? And it's beyond our comprehension. It's beyond the comprehension of everyone that is not source. Because it's constantly evolving as we are.
Hi, Alex. There appeared to have been a small fire at the Hoover Dam a couple of days ago, but there are also black cubes with statues of angels on top and other symbolic monuments there. Do you know what that's about? Thank you.
Well, the statues have always been there, as far as I'm aware. As far as the fire, I heard it was a barbecue that got out of control. I'm teasing. I'm teasing about the barbecue. You know, there's all kinds of rumors. Maybe it's a sign. Maybe it's a heads up. At the moment, I simply don't know. And you know, because it's so difficult, you have, let's go back to the prize fighter analogy, the two boxers. We're in the last round. And there's minutes left in the fight. And the fighter we like, that we want to win, is winning on points. But the fighter we don't like, that's losing, still has the ability to knock out. In other words, he cannot be underestimated until the sound of the bell. And that's when the fight's over. Both sides are sending mixed signals. Both sides are propagating fake intel to misdirect and mislead. Now, the two prize fighters, they know how the game is played because they've been playing it against each other for quite some time. So they understand how there really aren't any rules. as they continue their dance. We, on the other hand, the civilian population, most of us are just waking up to this. And we're struggling to understand the data, the information. We're trying to read the numerology of it, the energy of it, the misdirection of it, the timeline, the timetable, if there is one. We're trying to condense all of this in as quickly as possible because we want to know what the hell is going on. And it's extremely difficult to know exactly what's going on. And that is, of course, by design. However, this presents an excellent opportunity for us to go within and listen to our own intuition. Now, the ladies have always been good at this. They've always, for the most part, trusted their intuition, their gut instinct. They tend to be far more intuitive than men, more observant. Memory's like an elephant. They don't forget a thing. Where men are having to go within because the physical outside world is no longer totally reliable because what we see is not exactly what is real. So for us to make that transition into the inside is a challenge. And what makes it a challenge is that it makes us vulnerable emotionally. And that's very difficult for men. Very, very difficult. Because the system, the matrix, has really done a great deal to try to remove that from us. To suppress that part of us. And it doesn't always work. But if you have siblings, if you have your own children, you have to go there. You literally are forced to go into that place where you have to go within. Because you bond with your children, with your siblings, in a way that's extremely special. You can also do this with friends. Now, there are people who have grown up without a family. There are people who have grown up without a mother or a father or both. But no one has grown up without friends. We always have friends. And sometimes those friends become our family. And you connect to them in a very special way. You bond to them on an emotional and a spiritual level. Because chances are they are from the same soul group as you. Not that we understood that, not that we had clarity about soul groups or anything of that nature. But nonetheless, we bond. Sometimes we know to call them. Sometimes we know something's wrong. You know that if you have a problem and you need somebody to have your back, you know who to call. And they vice versa. This is where humanity is going to at this point. You have two elements warring against each other. You have the earth herself patiently holding on till the conflict is over. And humanity is having to rebond and reconnect with itself. Because we simply don't know what to trust anymore. There's no trusting the media. There's no trusting Hollywood. There's no trusting the churches. There's no trusting the medical community. There's virtually no trusting of most local governments. The state, federal court systems are all compromised. So what that does is it leaves humanity depending on itself. And it's forcing us to come together. We still have a long way to go. But what's going to happen is that we are going to become a race of leaders. That is not dependent or reliant on anything else, just ourselves and each other. Which coincidentally is where the real power resides anyway, is with us. So if we want the ship to go north, the ship goes north. If we're all in agreement, the ship goes north. And vice versa. So, as I've said before and others have, it's going to be bumpy. We've got some real shit coming. But ladies and gentlemen, we'll get through it. We absolutely will get through it. Honestly, we were just talking about this. What is it, 6, 7 years we've been doing the webinars? And, we had no idea if this would even work. And at the time we did this, we first started this, I was homeless, which is why I had to do it in the library. And I remember, and James brought this up to me today. I was hoping to get a couple of nights in a motel. And if you look back at the hardships you've had in the past, times where you've had your dark nights of the soul, or you ended a marriage, or you ended a relationship, and just, everything just falls apart. This is going to be something very different from that. This is going to be something all of us equally are going to share. And the food shortages, the fuel shortages, the absolute insanity and stupidity that our supposed leaders are going to tell us, it's going to force us all to come together and just say, no, this is not at all what we want. And this contrast is literally going to force us to not only step into our power, but to raise everyone else up around us into their power, because we have got to have each other's back. And in defending each other, we will remain free. It's going to get sketchy. But all of this was put into motion years ago. And I don't know if you remember the first 2 or 3 webinars we did when I was at the library. I said, that the powers that be have thrown everything against the wall. Well, this is the culmination of everything that they threw against the wall, is where we are right now. They were taking everything down, taking everything away from us to force us to be in a position where we would surrender our life, our liberty, our fortunes, everything to a new world order. And And this is what it looks like. This is exactly what it would look like. So you shouldn't be surprised at this. I mean, you know, their plan's been out there, just nobody thought they were serious. Maybe that's it. Or nobody paid attention. I'm not exactly sure. But some of us were trying to tell you. And so that's what this is. We're at that place where the culmination of everything they threw against the wall, those 7 years ago, 7 years ago, you're seeing it all coming out into the open now. And it's going to fail. It's going to fail, but it's going to hurt. Because their plans were very well along. They were very well developed. They had an infrastructure that would support all of these changes and this collapse of society. So, you know, they really thought this out. On the other hand, so did the White Hats. So this is a time for everyone to go within, to listen to your gut, to listen to your intuition, to pray for guidance, to source, whatever that source is for you, to ask for guidance, and listen to the casual reply. But we are going to be okay. It's just going to get really uncomfortable for everybody for a period of time. Some are saying a year, some are saying 2 years, some are saying 11 years. I don't know. I think that will be totally determined by us. The quicker we come together and say enough of this bullshit, the sooner it will be over. That we will put our heads down and we will get to work and we will fix all this stuff that's been broken forever. And we will build something that is totally unique, something that is totally holistic with the life that we want to live and the way we want to live it. So it's on us. It's back to us, we the people. In order to form a more perfect union of humanity, we're going to have to step up. And there's no way we can't do this. You know, we can do this. There's no way we can't do this, right? Yeah. I mean, this is absolutely within our power to do this. The fact of the matter is we don't need government. We really don't. You know, and I want to go back to the original intent in creating a federal government was for the defense of the country, because we were in a war with Britain, and the French were semi-reliable at that time. And we were moving west into the indigenous nations' territory. And because of the wealth of this nation, there were a lot of other countries in the world that wanted to trade with us. So we needed representatives in order to assist the states with foreign policy and trade negotiations. That was it. It was never meant to become this albatross that it is today. And it's become an albatross in every country, frankly, government. And we'll deal with that. We know that any structure like this has to be created to be of service to its peoples, not to become God and make us its servants. That's just not going to fly ever again. Ever again.
Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you found it insightful, please like the video, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon so you don't miss out on future updates. If you have any questions relating to today's video, please also leave them below. We read all the comments and take on board what our viewers have to say about Alex Collier's work. Remember, your support helps Alex Collier's knowledge and the messages from the Andromedans reach more people. If you'd like to support the channel even more, you can give us a super thanks tip by clicking the heart icon with a $sign. It really helps our team bring you more content. Also, be sure to visit alexcollier.org to sign up for our regular email newsletter. It's the best way to stay updated with the latest news, exclusive content, and upcoming live webinars. For the latest insights from Alex Collier, check out alexcollier.live. And if you want to explore over 250 past webinars, head over to alexcollier.tv. Thank you for being a part of this journey and supporting Alex Collier's work. We couldn't do this without you, and we're genuinely grateful for your support. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the vast mysteries of our universe. If you would like to see the Andromedan Contactee Alex Collier live via video stream, we hold a live online seminar every Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. For more information on upcoming live webinars, please visit alexcollier.org.